is the Maserati GranTurismo. Now, like its name suggests, this car promises to be comfortable to be your daily driver and for those occasional long drives. The GranTurismo is the entry point into Maserati's sports car range. It is available as a coupe or convertible with twin-turbo V6 or all-electric powertrain options, starting at Rs 2.5 crore. For this review, we get behind the wheel of the 550 horsepower V6 Trofeo version. In this video, we're going to launch it from 0 to 100 km per hour. We're going to hand it over to India's first F1 driver and see how it performs on a racetrack, and also put it through some real-world tests to see whether it lives up to the GT in its name. The second-gen GranTurismo is clearly an evolution of the original, retaining its classic long bonnet and short rear proportions. The first generation was a looker, and this one carries forward that appeal. Vertically oriented headlights flank a traditional snout-like grille that proudly wears the Trident emblem. Sculpted fenders, flowing body lines, and the sleek, coupe-like roofline ending in a stubby boot come together cohesively. The boot lid integrates a subtle lip spoiler, while the slim taillights, quad exhaust tips, and striking multi-spoke wheels complete the sporty look. Its staggered tyre setup further underlines its performance intent. The GranTurismo's interior has certainly moved along with times, and it feels thoroughly modern now. And when I say modern, you have plenty of screens. There's a digital instrument cluster, there's a big touchscreen, there's a touch operable panel for the climate control, and there's even a digital clock which doubles up as a G-meter and has some other displays as well. But if I'm being honest, purists will certainly miss those lovely analog dials, the lovely analog clock, and the tactile switches for the climate control system. That said, this car still gets switches and this lovely rotary knob for the drive modes. Some might find the red interior a bit too loud, but then there are nice touches like the carbon fiber as well as the intricately detailed speaker grills. The touchscreen is a bit slow to respond, the switches lack that tactile feel, and this interior doesn't feel like it belongs in a car that costs over 3 crore on road. The seats are very comfortable. They have a ventilated function and they have ample adjustment, and even the steering operation is electric. For a GT car, storage areas are a bit limited. The glove box is electrically operable, but it's a bit on the smaller side. The cup holders are a bit shallow, as are these cubby areas out here and in the central armrest console. On those days you are traveling with your friends, you'll be happy to know that even adults can sit in the back seat of the GranTurismo. Now, I'm 5 feet 9 inches tall and the front seat is set to my driving position, and I still have some knee room and some headroom to spare. Of course, this is not the most spacious place, but for short drives, 4 adults will be quite comfortable here. The windows are a bit small, but because the rear windscreen is sloping, there's a lot of light coming here, which is the reason why you don't feel claustrophobic or hemmed in here. For the comfort of rear seat passengers, you have rear AC vents, cup holders, charging provisions, and the passengers seated out here also have easy access to items in the boot thanks to this key hatch. Its boot is reasonably sized for occasional intercity drives. Before moving on to the driving aspects, here's a quick look at the standard equipment. Optional packages add kit like ADAS, surround view camera, digital inside rear view mirror, power tailgate, and wireless charging. So let's start with the bad news first. There's no V8 anymore. And you miss it, but for exactly 3.5 seconds. Yes, 3.5 seconds is all it takes for this car to catapult forward from 0 to 100 km per hour. The GranTurismo uses Maserati's in-house 3-litre twin-turbo V6 Nettuno engine. Fun fact, this is the same engine that powers the Maserati MC20 supercar. However, in this car, it has been detuned a bit. Yes, it's detuned, but it still makes 550 horsepower. This car's acceleration is simply mind-blowing. It is deceptively quick. Before you know it, you are at high triple-digit speeds. In our test though, it accelerated from 0 to 100 km per hour in 4.1 seconds and it hit 160 in just about 9 seconds. Its 650 Newton meters of torque comes with a sledgehammer-like whack. And the sound character of this engine is really nice. When you really push this engine to its full potential, it sounds really amazing and you can often hear that pop and crackle. I really like it. This engine spins all the way to 7,000 RPM energetically, and this gearbox really brings out the best of it. When you are really sending it, the gearbox feels responsive and it feels super quick. And what you also get is a manual mode for the gearbox, which gives you full control over this automatic transmission. I love the feel of these column-mounted paddle shifters, but really the thing is, on a racetrack, when you are trying to bring out the best of this car, I would have preferred steering-mounted paddle shifters for easier access. There are multiple drive modes. There's Comfort and GT, both of which make this car's character feel a lot more relaxed and easygoing, and these are more suited when you want to take things a bit easy. However, the moment you dial it up to Sport mode, this car simply livens up. Throttle responses feel crisp, the suspension feels tighter, the oral experience becomes better, the gear shifts become crisper, and it simply elevates the whole driving experience. And while power is transmitted to all the four wheels, quite honestly, when you switch to Corsa mode, that is when the ESP is turned off and you have full control over the vehicle, it still feels like a rear-wheel drive car. It still feels playful and it feels like it's willing to step out as soon as you get a bit aggressive. Despite its 1.8-ton curb weight, the GranTurismo feels surprisingly agile. The turn-in feels super sharp and this car simply darts and points into corners like a much smaller, nimbler car. What's even more impressive are its brakes, which do a stellar job to slow this car down. For a sports car, the GranTurismo's ride quality is quite forgiving. The ride feels quite pliant, and that is something you will appreciate, especially on our roads. Now yes, you do need to tackle potholes with a bit of caution thanks to its low profile tires. The good thing is it has a shortcut key for a lift function, which is right at your disposal, but still you will need to exercise caution over those speed breakers. And what's nice is that irrespective of the drive mode, you can change the suspension to hard or soft. Now let's hand this car over to Narain Karthikeyan and see what he feels while driving this car at 1010s on Coast Racetrack.
Very punchy, very linear, very comfortable, and some of the interiors I'm not a big fan of, the bright red interiors, and this you feel quite a lot of roll. The bolstering is not adequate enough and you move around. It's very comfortable, and I think you don't need to do much to drive it here in our roads, which is where we have a lot of undulations and so on, so it absorbs all of that. Even on the track, the patches which are bumpy, it soaks in all of that, and the car weighs quite a lot as well, and to go from point A to point B in a very comfortable environment and to eat up the kilometers, I think this is the car.
Narain lapped the 3.8-kilometer Coast Racetrack in a blistering 1 minute 51.24 seconds. To put it into perspective, the 1.8-ton Maserati is just 0.69 seconds slower than the similarly priced Porsche 911 GTS, despite the latter being a more focused sports car, while the GranTurismo is a GT car. Priced at 2.7 crore ex-showroom for the GranTurismo Trofeo variant, this car appeals to a niche segment. While it might appear expensive at first, it is priced similarly to rivals such as the Porsche 911 GTS and Mercedes AMG GT. But the Maserati GranTurismo isn't about numbers. This is a car that delivers exclusivity and an abundance of presence as well as emotional appeal. Furthermore, it drives incredibly. Now, the Maserati is for someone who wants to be different. And at a time when manufacturers are trying too hard, the Maserati impresses simply effortlessly.